Welcome back to the Daily News Network. Time for Business Champions. I'm Brian Sexton, and we're talking sales today with Liz Heiman from Regarding Sales. Hey, Liz, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I'm always interested in the topic of sales because it's what drives business. So tell me why organizations that you work with thrive and want to work with you.
Oh, I think that the reason that once they get working with me, they are thriving is because they now have a system and a process that can scale. So companies have system and process around their manufacturing. And then when it gets to sales, they're like, well, they'll just know what to do. They'll go out and do it. And when they're working with me, they begin to understand what are all the things that salespeople need? What's the structure? How do you manage? What are the things that make it a process and a system that's manageable?
What are the biggest challenges that moderate-sized sales organizations have to get the thing rolling? And how do you address challenges? What do you do to make people's sales organizations sing?
I think there's a couple of really big things. One is that often when you talk about moderate size, what does that mean? Enterprise could be thousands of salespeople. When you talk about a mid-sized manufacturing company, for example, you're talking about 2 to 20 salespeople, right? That's still a small sales team, but it's usually where I work. And the problem then is most of the leaders have never been trained to be sales leaders. They don't know how to hire salespeople. They hire the wrong people for the job that they have. They expect people to be able to do everything. They think sales is somehow magical. And what they don't understand is that there's a way to lead. There are rules to follow. There's processes to put in place. There's guide rails to put in place. There's measures. There's KPIs that actually make sense. And when you start putting all of that in place, you have a sales organization that can function and salespeople that know what to do.
So what's the biggest, how do you take a good salesperson, Liz, and make him or her great? How difficult is that to do? Because I'm sure that's one of the things you get is, I've got a lot of good performers. I need them to become great performers.
So good performers to great performers is often the difference between good managers to great managers.
Wow.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is that usually if somebody's a good salesperson and they're basically delivering, then now it's a matter of, it's just like a golf coach. How do you tweak that swing just a little bit? How do I ask better questions? How do I listen better? How do I handle objections better? How do I qualify better? I think that's one of the biggest things is qualifying out business that isn't good business and focusing on business that's good business instead of wasting time, which really comes to the biggest problem that salespeople are dealing with right now, which is how do you get enough in the top of your funnel? How do you prospect? And prospecting is harder than it has ever been because there's so much noise and so much to compete with that it's hard to be heard, it's hard to be seen. So those are the things that make the difference.
How do you get heard and seen? How do you take someone who's really struggling with that prospecting and help them be heard and be seen in a noisy world?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is that we think that salespeople should be able to just knock on any door and be successful, and that's not true. So one, we need to manage our list better. The better our list is, the better our result is. Second is if we focus on selling to people who we already have relationships with or people who can refer business to us, we're going to do better than if we're cold calling. Third is that we have to remember that our prospects and our clients only care, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they care about themselves. They don't care about us. They don't care about my company. They don't care what my company does. They only care about what problem or desire they have that they want a solution for and how you can help them solve or achieve whatever it is they're trying to solve or achieve. So when we change our focus and change our language, so it's about our customer instead of about us, we have a great deal more success. And I often, when I'm talking to salespeople, one of the ways that I explain it is you want your client to say, Can you do that for me? And when you can get them to say that, you will have a real conversation.
A lot of what you've talked about, process and procedure, it comes down to habits, doesn't it? And obviously, there's Atomic Habits by James Cleary. That's a great book for everybody to read. How difficult is it to take a salesperson who's had some measure of success and help them change their habits to become great, to do what you've been talking about doing?
So again, it starts by getting everything out of their way that interferes with their focus on sales. So how many unnecessary meetings are they having? How much time do they waste on a CRM that asks too many questions and doesn't work for them? How many tools do they have to go into before they can begin to even sell? So before I can fix my salesperson's habit, I have to fix their environment. And once I fix their environment, then I can help them prioritize. If I have clear priorities, it's easier to set my habits in place. If I understand where to start, where to focus, then it's easy to do the work that needs to be done and to set up habits that work. But if I'm being pulled in a million different directions, I don't care how good, I don't care how persistent and consistent that person is, they're always going to be pulled in a million directions. And one of the first things I say is, if you have prospecting work to do, don't read your email first. Get your prospecting work done, because your email will always pull you off of your priorities and into someone else's.
It's tough to focus in the world that we live in today, for sure. A few more questions with Liz Heiman from Regarding Sales. Who do you work with? Is there a specific sector of the sales industry that you excel at? Who's an ideal client for Regarding Sales, Liz?
So I work with a lot of different kinds of organizations, but primarily I'm working with manufacturing companies, often high tech, med tech, science, and they are 10 to 30 years old and their world is changing around them. And they now need to rethink how they go to market, how their salespeople sell, how they manage a channel, how they're going to start consistently achieving the goals that they need to achieve despite whatever chaos is happening around them.
And how about one tip, Liz, because we have salespeople who join us for this show and business owners who are looking to improve their sales teams. How about one thing they can do today, at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, it doesn't matter, that can get them a better result, something that will make them a better salesperson?
Stop talking and start listening.
Seems so simple. You say that to a
It's
broadcaster,
really simple.
and I'll think, well, I should shut up too. But that's a great one. Listen more than you talk.
Yeah, we have to ask good questions, be curious. Yep.
Absolutely. That's the best way to chase this one. Thanks so much for bringing Regarding Sales to the program today. We hope you'll join us again.
Thank you. I'd love to.
And thank you for joining us on Business Champions. We'll see you next time here on the Daily News Network.
BizBuy Pro supports individuals through the acquisition process in many ways. First and foremost, we can find a business for you. You come to us and you give us the parameters geographically, size, like maybe 2 million in revenue, and maybe an area. You want to be a plumbing contractor, and we'll go find that for you. I think really the most important thing from BizBuy Pro is, after you find that business, working through the valuation, how much you're paying for it. As I always say, you don't make money when you sell, you make money when you buy.